Here's everything that Apple announced at today's fall iPhone event. Starting off with the Apple Watch Series 8. The new Apple Watch Series 8 looks pretty identical to the Series 7, but Apple did add a few new features like the new temperature sensor to assist women's health even further. Now, this new temperature sensor would work with the cycle tracking app to improve accuracy, and Apple says a nighttime wrist temperature would be a great way to get an accurate reading, and it would better detect ovulation. It actually detects changes as small as 0.1 degrees Celsius, and it even does a reading every 5 seconds. The Series 8 can also notify for potential cycle deviations. Crash detection also made its way to the Series 8, and it can detect if you've been in a severe crash. This new feature can automatically detect impact and dial 911, as well as alert your emergency contacts. Front, side impact, rear end collision, and rollovers are the 4 areas of which Apple uses to detect a crash, alongside some new sensors built into the watch. It still has the same battery life of around 18 hours, but Apple did introduce the long-rumored low power mode, which can now give users 36 hours of battery life on one single charge. This will disable features like always on display, but preserves important features like car crash detection while on low power mode. Apple Watch Series 8 comes in 4 colors: Midnight, Starlight, Silver, and Product Red, as well as 3 stainless steel offerings of silver, gold, and graphite. Pre-orders begin right now and will be on sale next week, September 16th. It starts at $399 for the GPS and $499 for the cellular model. Next up, Apple briefly touched on the SE, which received a little bit of an update. It first comes in new colors, now Midnight, Silver, and Starlight, and it's made up of new nylon composite materials on the back of the watch. The SE does support car crash detection and has the same S8 chip that's found in the new Series 8. It comes in now at $249 for the GPS and $299 for the cellular model. It's on sale today and will be available on the 16th. And finally, rounding out the Apple Watch lineup, we have the all-new, heavily rumored Apple Watch Ultra. Yeah, that's right, it's not called the Apple Watch Pro or the Explorer's Edition, but it's actually called Ultra, and it's made with a new titanium case. It comes in at 49 millimeters and has this new action button that's actually highlighted and decorated in an orange color, which I am a huge fan of, and has a bigger digital crown and a second speaker for increased volume. Cellular is standard in the Ultra and has 36 hours of battery on a single charge. That's without low power mode, and if you do enable low power mode, you can actually get 60 hours according to Apple. You can rotate the crown to enter night mode, which turns the UI red for better visibility. There are special bands available for the Ultra, like the new Alpine Loop, Ocean Band, and this Trail Loop band. The GPS inside of the Ultra has improved to feature an L1 and L5 GPS for better performance in dense conditions, like in between large buildings or a lot of trees. The action button can launch into custom workouts, mark segments during track running, and in the new Compass app, which has been redesigned, you can use the action button to add waypoints. There's also a new app being developed to utilize the Ultra's diving certification. The Apple Watch Ultra is definitely not made for everyone, but if any of these features pique your interest, you're going to be pretty happy with the price tag. Actually, the Ultra is available to order right now and will be available and shipping to consumers on September 23rd, and it starts at only $799, which is absolutely well under the price tag of over $1,000 that we were expecting during the rumor cycle of this product. So in my opinion, it now kind of seems like a huge steal for all of these features baked into this watch. Next up was the new AirPods Pro, and after 3 years, or nearly 3 years, Apple has finally updated its popular Pro version of AirPods. It's jam-packed with a new H2 chip and a ton of overall sound quality improvements on the inside, but on the outside, it looks largely the same. We do get improvements to active noise cancellation, which is, according to Apple, now 2 times better than the previous version. There's a new extra small ear tip included with the small, medium, and large tips that we got before. Transparency also received some improvements thanks to the H2 chip, launching a new adaptive transparency mode that automatically adjusts the levels to your surroundings. And the force sensor stem on the AirPods Pro finally got updated to adjust the volume with a simple swipe up and down, which is something that I am absolutely excited for and is well worth the upgrade in my opinion. AirPods Pro come with also 6 hours of listening time for the headphones themselves, and then you get an additional 30 hours thanks to the charging case. And the charging case has also been improved with better Find My features, like AirPods playing a sound. Well, each individual AirPod can play a sound. There's precision tracking, and there's a new speaker on the case, which will also help for location tracking when they are lost. There's also a lanyard loop on the side of the case so that you can add all these new accessories in, and the Apple Watch charger can now be used to charge your AirPods case. This will be available on September 9th for pre-order and released on September 23rd. The iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, yes, that's the official name, was next up, and well, it's just like what we thought it would be. It's got the notch still, and Apple really did focus a lot on the larger display as being kind of the new part of this new iPhone 14, which I guess is new because it's an entirely different size device for the non-Pro iPhones. The new iPhone 14 does come in Midnight, Starlight, Blue, Purple, and Product Red. The iPhone 14 Plus is said to offer the best battery life ever on an iPhone, and performance is what we expected it was going to be. Apple is actually sticking with the A15 Bionic chip that was found in last year's iPhone 13 Pro models. So the only good thing about that is that you actually are getting the 5-core GPU version, which again was only in the Pro models from last year. Apple updated its 2 cameras on the 14 and 14 Plus, so you're getting a newer version of the 12 megapixel main camera that features a larger sensor, sensor shift OIS, and a 1.9 aperture for better low light improvement. Ultra wide is also available, but Apple didn't really mention any specific improvements to that sensor, but I guess it has been improved. The true depth camera on the front has been improved for better low light performance and now has autofocus for the first time. Photonic Engine is a new engine that Apple developed to help with low light photos, which apparently offers 2 times better low light photography on the front, ultra and wide angle lenses. And there's also a new mode for video, which is actually called Action Mode, which improves stabilization. And apparently you'll get gimbal level stabilization, which is a bold claim that I cannot wait to test out. All US models will no longer have a SIM card tray and will solely rely on eSIM. And the iPhone 14 will also have the crash detection feature that we mentioned on the Apple Watch Series 8. Apple also announced its long-rumored emergency SOS via satellite connectivity feature that can now notify emergency services whenever you do not have cell service. This would allow your iPhone to connect to a satellite that's orbiting our Earth, and the phone will actually show you where to point and where to move to keep in contact with that satellite, and you'll be able to send and receive messages in order to kind of get help if you need it. You can also, in less dire situations, share your location manually via the Find My app while connected to the satellite. This service will actually be included for free for 2 years with any iPhone 14 and will launch in November. The iPhone 14 will actually start at $799 and the 14 Plus will start at $899 and will be available for pre-order on September 9th, with orders shipping next week for the standard 14 model, and October 7th is when we can expect the 14 Plus to arrive. And last but not least, we have the new iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro will come in 4 colors this year, with the new color being a purple option. And the new pill-shaped cutout is the first thing that your eyes are going to be drawn to, and actually comes with some useful improvements based around it. I actually never thought that we'd see a cutout like this be useful, but Apple is calling it its dynamic island and was actually a pretty big part of the show. It can expand into different sizes when alerts are presented, and it works entirely across the system, like muting, starting a charge, or connecting AirPods. You can even see album art, and it's completely interactive. Live activities work seamlessly with Dynamic Island, which is actually pretty cool, and developers can take advantage of Dynamic Island for its apps and services. The new display comes with even thinner borders, the Dynamic Island, and a brighter screen of up to 1600 nits of peak brightness, which is the same level as the Pro Display XDR. And if you're outdoors, you can push that brightness up to a max 2000 nits of peak outdoor brightness. Apple also finally made the debut of Always On Display, as we were actually expecting this to happen, and it is modeled after the new lock screen from iOS 16. So the time, widgets, and live activities are always available, wallpaper photos can be dimmed but preserve skin tones, and you can keep track of those live activities without having to touch your iPhone. The A16 Bionic chip is inside the new iPhone 14 Pro, and it's built off of a 4nm process and has a 6-core CPU and a 5-core GPU with 50% more bandwidth for better gaming improvements. The new cameras on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max have finally received a pretty massive upgrade. This new system comes with a new 48 megapixel main sensor leading the way with quad pixel sensor. It's actually 65% larger than the iPhone 13 Pro and has a second gen sensor shifting OIS and 24mm focal length. The new main camera has 2 times low light improvements compared to the iPhone 13 Pro, and you can now shoot uncompressed Apple Pro RAW at 48 megapixels, and it will allow for incredible detail while rescaling some of these photos. The iPhone 14 Pro also has a new ultra-wide sensor with up to 3 times improvements for low light photos, and macro shots have been improved thanks to this new ultra-wide sensor. The iPhone 14 Pro can now shoot cinematic mode in 24 and 30 frames per second in 4K, but sadly we didn't get 8K video recording, at least not this year. iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max will actually remain at the same starting price at $999 and $1099, and pre-orders will begin September 9th with deliveries taking place on September 16th for both Pro models. And that wraps up everything that Apple announced at the event. It was a massive event filled with tons of great updates, but of course I would love to hear from you in those comments section down below. Are you planning to order any of these devices? Have you already ordered some of the watches that were available today? Please let me know in those comments. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.